The Prime Minister's questions took place on Wednesday, which conjured up quite a lot of things, and talking points. A lot of the main takeaways were, of course, Labour defending themselves, cutting the winter fuel allowance, whilst also giving answer to other questionable decisions they have made so far since taking power. However, there is one clip that did go under the radar ever so slightly, and that's the Prime Minister getting ripped to shreds over a valid point, but Starmer's response is kind of worrying, considering the seriousness of it. Let's get into it, whilst also discussing all of the latest news from the UK. But first, hit the like and subscribe button and join our fast-growing community. MP Pete Wishart hit out at the Labour leader's declining popularity among the elderly after he cut their winter fuel allowance. However, the arrogant clown tries to make a joke of the situation and can't answer the question. But at least the situation is being brought to light. Here is the clip.
After 14 miserable years of the worst Tory government in modern times, the best this Prime Minister can offer the British people is things can only get worse. Well, for him and his calamitous opinion ratings, that's probably true. But why does he think he has such an unprecedented fall in his popularity? Is it his attacks on the pensioners? Is it leaving children in poverty? Is it the re-emergence of Labour cronyism? Or is it because his austerity is even worse than the Conservative variety?
I remember when they used to sit here. It's a long way up and there's very few of them, so I don't think we need lectures on popularity among the electorate.
What are your thoughts on this and Starmer's response? In other news, Tony Blair has acknowledged that the influx of migrants during his tenure as Prime Minister placed strain on certain British communities. In an interview with BBC's Amal Rajan, Sir Tony addressed his record on immigration, which has come under scrutiny since his departure from Downing Street in 2007. Tony said, "If I'd still been in power and I'd notice, because this is true in certain communities, there was a big influx of people. It was causing real strains in some of those communities." He maintained that his approach actually helped our economy, but conceded that the policy did not come without cost. Net migration to the UK rose significantly under Blair's leadership, from 48,000 in 1997 to 273,000 when he left office in 2007. Sir Tony defended his record on immigration, stating, "What I always say to people is this. I am very happy to take full responsibility for the more than 10 years that I was British Prime Minister and for the decisions I took." However, he drew a clear line, adding, "Well, what I won't do is take responsibility for the time when I wasn't Prime Minister." Blair emphasised the economic necessity of immigration during his tenure, saying, "The truth is, we did need a lot of people for the British economy coming in from Europe." Tony described the mood when he came to power as pretty optimistic, whereas today's zeitgeist is more anxious. The former PM was also asked about his reflections on Britain's standing in the world. He noted that the UK is now weaker in 3 key areas: its relationship with the US, its role in Europe, and international development. Are we America's strongest ally? Well, that's the question today, Sir Tony remarked, adding that while security and military ties remain close, the political relationship is a lot more open to question. Tony also expressed concern about the rise of sectarian politics during recent elections, describing the intimidation of candidates over the Gaza conflict as ugly and asserting that it shouldn't happen. He highlighted a very clear question around the issue of Muslim identity and the distinction between Islam and Islamism that reverberates all around the world. Several Labour candidates faced harassment from pro-Palestine activists during campaigning. Jonathan Ashworth, who lost his Leicester South seat to independent MP Shaukat Adam, reported having to hide in a vicarage from protesters. Jess Phillips, who retained her Birmingham Yardley seat, described the 2024 campaign as her worst election experience, facing heckling and booing from pro-Palestine campaigners during her victory speech. Unfortunately, reports are stating Kamala Harris is on course to win the US election, a shock new poll of several swing states has revealed. The major poll, which canvassed the major US swing states, showed the current vice president is winning in enough battleground states, to overcome her Republican rival, Donald Trump. However, the battle for the White House in November is still looking to be very close, with just a handful of Electoral College delegates needed to win the election, deciding the final result. Redfield and Wilton Strategies, which conducted the poll for The Telegraph, found Harris is projected to win the key states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Winning the states would grant her the 270 delegates she needs to win the election. However, the result will be close, with the former president expected to come in just behind with 262 delegates. Trump is expected to win several other important swing states, such as North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. Both Harris and Trump are tied on 47% of the vote in Nevada. In addition, the poll makes an assumption that the remaining 43 states would vote the same way as they did in 2020. The poll comes ahead of a presidential debate between Harris and Trump on September 10th at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, which has been tipped to have a significant impact on undecided voters. Harris has gained significant momentum in the presidential race in recent weeks. According to Politico, she has closed polling gaps across various states in the past 6 weeks. A Gallup poll shows a substantial increase in Democratic enthusiasm compared to earlier in the year, marking a shift from Trump's previous edge in voter motivation. Since Harris took over from Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee, Trump has faced challenges in countering Harris's momentum, as his campaign has struggled to find an effective angle of attack. To shift the race's direction, Trump is said to be planning a significant advertising push, including a £30 million campaign focused on immigration and other issues. Ahead of the debate next week, both candidates have intensified their debate preparations. Harris has recruited Karen Dunn, who helped prepare her for the 2020 vice presidential debate, to assist with preparations while Trump's campaign is ramping up his campaign schedule, holding multiple events daily. He uses rallies and speeches as a big part of debate prep, a Trump campaign official told Fox News. Republican pollster Frank Luntz suggests Trump could win the debate by asking a key question: "Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago?" Luntz emphasized that voters will scrutinize both candidates' words and body language, including presidential demeanor and eye contact. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.